Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be solving the equation x to the power of x to the power of 3 is equal to 729. So, to solve this, what I'm first going to do is take the power of 3 on both sides. So I get x to the power of x to the power of 3 to the power of 3 is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is the same thing as a to the power of m times n. Now, m times n, I can also rewrite as n times m. And if something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n is equal to a to the power of m times n, then a to the power of n times m should also equal to a to the power of n to the power of n. So in simpler terms, a to the power of m to the power of n is equal to a to the power of n to the power of n. So now from here, I have x to the power of x to the power of 3 to the power of 3, and I can think of x to the power of 3 as m and 3 as n. So if I switch the places of these two, I get x to the power of 3 to the power of x to the power of 3. And remember, this is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, from here, I'm going to let x to the power of 3 equal to the variable y. So I get y to the power of y is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, I can simplify 729 to the power of 3. So 729 is the same thing as, 729, let's find some factors of this. So a factor of 729, let's try to divide this by 3. 729 divided by 3, we have 2 over here, so we get 6. We subtract 7 with 6, we get 1. We bring that to 2. 3 times 4 is 12. And now we bring that to 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So I get 729 is equal to 243 times 3. Now, 243, if I divide this by 3, I get 81. So I have this times 3 times 81, or sorry, I have 3 times 3 times 81, and 81 is the same thing as 3 to the power of 4. So I have 3 times 3 times 3 to the power of 4, which is equal to 3 to the power of 6, meaning 729 is the same thing as 3 to the power of 6. And 3 to the power of 6, I can break that down into 3 squared times 3 squared times 3 squared, which is equal to 9 to the power of 3. So I'm going to replace 9 to the power of 3 with 729. So I get y to the power of y is equal to 9 to the power of 3 to the power of 3. And the reason I did this is because 9 to the power of 3 to the power of 3 is the same thing as 9 to the power of 3 times 3. And 3 times 3 is 9. So I get y to the power of y is equal to 9 to the power of 9. And now I can use the property a to the power of a is equal to, if a to the power of a is equal to b to the power of b, this means that a equals b. So in this case, y is equal to 9. Now, recall how I let x to the power of 3 equal to y. Meaning, I get x to the power of 3 is equal to 9. So now to solve this, I'm going to take the cube root on both sides. So I get the cube root of x to the power of 3 is equal to the cube root of 9. Now the cube root of x to the power of 3 is simply just x. So I get x is equal to the cube root of 9. And this is the same thing as 9 to the power of 1/3. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be solving the problem 2 to the power of 20 minus 1. So I want to find the value of 2 to the power of 20 minus 1. So to solve this, what I'm first going to do is I'm going to rewrite 2 to the power of 20 as 2 to the power of 10 times 2. So now I have 2 to the power of 10 times 2 minus 1. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m times n, this is equal to a to the power of m to the power of n. So 2 to the power of 10 times 2 is equal to 2 to the power of 10 to the power of 2. And I have this minus 1. Now 1 I can rewrite as 1 squared because 1 is the same thing as 1 squared. So now I have 2 to the power of 10 to the power of 2 minus 1 squared. And the reason I put this in this form is because now I can use the property a squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So in this case, a is equal to 2 to the power of 10 and b is equal to 1. So now I get 2 to the power of 10 plus 1 times 2 to the power of 10 minus 1. Now 2 to the power of 10 is equal to 2 to the power of 5 plus 5, which is equal to 2 to the power of 5 times 2 to the power of 5, which is equal to 32 times 32, and 32 times 32 is 1024. So I get 1024 plus 1 times 1024 minus 1. Now 1024 plus 1 is 1025, and 1024 minus 1 is 1023. So now I have 1025 times 1023, and to solve this, or to multiply these two, I'm not just going to do it using the basic multiplication method because this takes way too long. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this as 1000 plus 25 times 1000 plus 23, and now I can distribute my 1000, so I get 1000 squared plus 23 times 1000, and now I can distribute 25, so I get 25 times 1000 plus 25 times 23. Now 1000 squared is equal to 1 million, so I have 1 million plus 23,000 plus 25,000 plus 25 times 23, which is 575. So now from here, 23,000 plus 25,000 is 48,000, and 48,000 plus 575 is 48,575, and that plus 1 million is 1,048,575. So this is my answer to this problem.